unless there is blatantly some money laundering etc going on with foreign entities. Other than that, I don't think normal course में startups को कोई लेके इतना खींचेगा. जनरली जो दिख रहा है रुख मतलब टैक्सेशन अथॉरिटीज का वो है कि और गवर्नमेंट का कि चलो स्टार्टअप को थोड़ा सा बख्श दो, राइट, फंडिंग उठाने दो एंड ऑल दैट. सो दैट्स माय टेक एट लीस्ट.
संदीप जी,
श्योर
संदीप जी, ये फर्स्ट शिकागो मेथड में जो आपकी ये 3 सिनेरियोज हैं, बेस्ट, वर्स्ट और बेस केस, इसमें मेथोडोलॉजी तो एक ही रहती है ना. लेट्स से डीसीएफ ले लिया, तो मेथोडोलॉजी तो डिफरेंट हो सकती है तीनों में.
मतलब कैश फ्लोस का जो प्रोजेक्शन है वो आपका अलग अलग हो सकता है ना, कि आप जो एक कैश फ्लो बोल रहे हो उसका प्रोबेबिलिटी बहुत कम है. आप बोल तो रहे हो होगा, लेकिन उसका प्रोबेबिलिटी काफी कम लोगे. आप बहुत ज्यादा कैश फ्लो का प्रोबेबिलिटी कम ले लोगे, उससे थोड़ा कम कैश फ्लो का प्रोबेबिलिटी थोड़ा ज्यादा ले लोगे,
तो
और बिल्कुल ही घटिया होगा उसका भी थोड़ा कम ले लो, वैसे करके.
अच्छा, तो मतलब assumption सेम है, सिर्फ आप probability मैट्रिक्स चेंज कर रहे हो. मैंने देखा जो है वो बेसिकली वैक नहीं चेंज, वैक वही रहेगा, वैक नहीं चेंज कर दोगे.
नहीं, वैक सेम रहेगा, लेकिन आपका प्रोबेबिलिटी ऑफ द कैश फ्लो, टर्मिनल ग्रोथ रेट, वो सब आप थोड़ा बहुत हिला सकते हैं, और फिर बोल सकते हैं कि हम सोच तो रहे होगा लेकिन प्रोबेबिलिटी कम है.
हाँ ठीक है, मतलब वो तो फिर सभी प्रोबेबिलिटी के हिसाब से फिर अगर रिस्क हाई है तो वैक भी बढ़ ही जाएगा ना बाय डेफिनेशन.
राइट,
ठीक है. हाँ ठीक है.
मतलब कहीं आपने बहुत एग्रेसिव लिया है कि हम इतना % से ग्रो करेंगे और ये हमारे इतने फूडू कैश फ्लो होंगे, लेकिन आप बोलेंगे ठीक है करोगे, लेकिन इसका प्रोबेबिलिटी बहुत कम है भैया, 5% प्रोबेबिलिटी है उसका, तो आप उसका वेट. तो 300 मिलियन जैसे यहाँ पे 10% ही लिया मैंने.
हाँ, तो ये मतलब रहेगा डीसीएफ ही हमारा, लगेगा
देखिए डीसीएफ ही है, वेटेड, इसको बेसिकली रफली बोले तो वेटेड एवरेज डीसीएफ काइंड ऑफ.
हाँ, तो डीसीएफ ही लग रहा है ना.
है ही डीसीएफ ही है.
मतलब सर समझाने के लिए यही है हमारा, और है क्या.
आई एग्री, बट ये भी मुश्किल ही है, क्या 3 डीसीएफ ले, वही भी टैक्स वाला समझेगा नहीं. डीसीएफ या क्या होता है, तुम 3 कैश फ्लो मतलब वो बोलेगा तीनों को ऐड कर दो. वो किस लेवल के होते हैं आपको मैं समझा नहीं सकता. वो बोलेंगे तीनों को ऐड करो और तीनों का ऐड करके डिस्काउंट करो, जो निकला वही वैल्यूएशन है.
तो तीनों को ऐड करके एवरेज कर दो, डिवाइड बाय 3 कर दो.
वो कुछ भी बोल सकते हैं, वो कोई भरोसा नहीं है, बिकॉज मोस्ट ऑफ देम आर नॉट वेरी कन्वर्जेंट इन दिस थिंग. जस्ट दैट द पावर, सो दे विल जस्ट पुट अप अ नंबर कि इतना टैक्स दो, देन यू आर रनिंग हेल्टर स्केल्टर टू शो कि नहीं इतना नहीं बनता. And some product approach, some product nothing but weighted average based on the DC. Then the venture capital method, as the name indicate, it is from the point of view of the investor. Investor is always looking at a multiple of the return, right? So ये जो investor देखते हैं, ये लोग, हम लोग क्या ये परसेंटेज देख रहे हैं, 8%, 10%, ये जो हम लोग देख रहे थे मार्केट यील्ड और यील्ड टू मार्केट, ये सारा जो है परसेंटेज पे देख रहे थे. लेकिन ये जो इन्वेस्टर है, ये लोग एक्स के टर्म्स पे देखते हैं कि 10 रुपए लगाऊंगा तो इतना एक्स मेरा कमाई होगा, राइट. 10 रुपए में 10x कमाई चाहिए उसको, राइट. 10 लगाऊंगा तो मेरे को 100 रुपए चाहिए या 100x चाहिए. तो दे आर लुकिंग एट इन टर्म्स ऑफ मल्टीपल ऑफ देयर इन्वेस्टमेंट, नॉट इन टर्म्स ऑफ परसेंटेज. So what they see is, if the investor thinks that your business can be sold for 100 million in 8 years, he will do the back calculation, right? He will just see कि इसका potential कितना है after say 5 years or 8 years. Based on that, he will see कि मेरे को multiple कितना चाहिए अपने investment पे, and then he will do a back calculation to get to your number. Again, very very subjective, based on VC's gut feel, experience, being in the market and understanding the space. So this is kind of an example. Rate of return 18 to 20%. Investment is 100,000. Time is 5 years. Revenue 200. P multiple 12. Right? I believe revenue at the time of his revenue of P multiple is 200 into 12, because price earning ratio में आपका earning 200 है, price earning ratio 12 है, तो 2400 आपका valuation हो गया. This is the market approach. For people who have not gone through the approaches, I think just bear with me. I think you'll have those classes sooner or later. So multiple approach में you are just taking a multiple, multiplying it with the revenue to get the valuation. So VC is thinking his expected value by value in the future is 9.58%. Right? So pre-money is basically 1043, basically 100 divided by 9.58%. So he is looking at a 10% or 9.5% stake here. So he will calculate it accordingly. कि अगर valuation इतना है कंपनी का, right? और expected value in the future, उसका share of the expected value will be 9.58%. Then what is the money that he wants to invest today? Right? So first he will look at आगे क्या होने वाला है business का. Then he will see उस business में मेरे को कितना stake चाहिए और मेरे को कितना return चाहिए. उस basis पे he will put the value. This is a case study. Mr. N wants to invest in private limited.
संदीप जी एक मिनट पीछे जाएंगे, एक मिनट जरा लास्ट स्लाइड पे.
Yeah.
ये वैल्यू ऑफ द कंपनी कैसे निकाली है? 200 to 12 कहाँ से आया?
12 आपका पी मल्टीपल है सर. ये मार्केट अप्रोच है. एज आई सेड, प्लीज बेयर विद मी. आप लोगों को ये क्लास नहीं हुआ
अच्छा, पी 12 मल्टीपल. सॉरी, ठीक है, समझ गया.
राइट. सो यू विल हैव टू गो थ्रू दैट मल्टीपल अप्रोच एंड ऑल दैट.
ठीक है सर, समझ गया. ये नहीं, ठीक है, ओके, अंडरस्टूड.
So assume N has to invest in a B private limited. $1 million he wants to invest. He expects a return of 30%. Expected duration is 5 years. Company is expected to earn a revenue of 1 million after 5 years. PE multiple is 20. Calculate percentage holding and pre-money valuation. Right? This is the case study. इसमें क्या करेंगे हम लोग? PE multiple 20 है. Revenue आपका आ रहा है 20 का. Sorry, 1 million का revenue है. P multiple 20 का है. So your value of the company is 20 million. Right? Future value is investment into 1 plus rate into to the power number of years. Investment अगर 1 million करेंगे तो 30% का रेट जो है उसमें 5 years में 3.7 million का future value हो जाएगा. तो उस 3.7 million out of this 20 million will give him a 18.5% holding. Right? For that 18.5% holding, if he has invested 1 million, then what is the value of the company? राइट. जो मैं कह रहा था आपको कि जब भी आप सुनते हैं ना कि बाइजूस का 15 बिलियन हो गया, इसका मतलब ये नहीं है कि किसी ने 15 बिलियन दे दिया उसको. इसका मतलब कि फॉर 5% स्टेक somebody has paid him X. Based on that उसका टोटल वैल्यूएशन बन गया 15 बिलियन. राइट. और फॉर 10 बिलियन फॉर 5% के लिए किसी ने 500 मिलियन दिया है. 10% स्टेक के लिए किसी ने 500 मिलियन दिया, इसीलिए उसका उस बेसिस पे वैल्यूएशन बन गया 5 बिलियन. राइट. So this is how your calculations are done.
The last line, current valuation.
So basically देखिए आप, उसने basically आपको 3.7 million दे दिया.
3.7 million is the valuation which has come at the current current date.
Yeah, that is the future valuation of the company. Current exit valuation is 20 million. Exit valuation in the sense कल को अगर कंपनी बिक जाती है तो 20 million मिलना है उसको. ठीक है. तो इन्वेस्टमेंट उसने 1 मिलियन का डाला है, उसका फ्यूचर वैल्यू बन जाता है 3.7 मिलियन इन 5 years, ग्रोइंग एट 30%.
ऑल राइट.
ठीक है. अब 20 मिलियन पूरा बिका, उसने 3.7 मिलियन डाला है. जो
आउट ऑफ 23.7 मिलियन उसका शेयर है.
1 मिलियन 3.7 बन गया. तो उसका परसेंटेज कितना रहा? 18.5%. अब अगर 5% के लिए उसने 1 मिलियन डाला है तो टोटल वैल्यू कितना? दिस इज हाउ इट.
So basically 5.4 million is the firm's value.
Firm's value, right. And his investment is 1 million, which will grow to 3.7 million, and your firm's value at the exit point will grow to 20 million.
20 million.
Holding 18.5%. That also means that 18.5% के लिए आपने आज 1 million दिया. So what is the value of the firm?
Correct. Okay.
This is nothing but pictorial representation of the same thing.
Do we get practical questions from this segment?
No, sir. No. Not at all.
Okay.
तो सर, तो फिर इसमें क्वेश्चंस कैसे आते हैं? थ्योरेटिकल यही पूछेंगे बस इसका.
तो वही है, what are मतलब methods के क्या हैं? Maybe we have some questions also at the end to just give you a flavor. Also, as I said, also in the telephone conversation we are having, I will be sharing across the multiple choice question across all the topics of the syllabus, not only one which I am covering. Give you a good understanding of the areas which will.
Thank you so much.
Definition wise आ जाएंगे. कहीं मेथड को डिस्क्राइब कर देगा, नाम पूछ लेगा, what method is this, those kind of.
अच्छा,
ओके, थैंक यू सर. ब्रेक दे दो.
चलो ठीक है. I will accept what you are saying. 4-5,
Thank you, sir.
420.
420. Okay, thank you.
We'll meet at 420. चलो
Okay, thank you, sir.
4:20 को मिलते हैं, चलिए। So guys, if you can. So we are left with certain other relatively smaller areas of specific valuation. I think distressed asset valuation, startup valuation, and to an extent MSME valuation. ये तीनों ही cover 85% of your engagements. I don't think many of us will get many opportunities to work for investment valuations or insurance company valuations, etc. There might be few and far. So let us get started. I'll request everyone to join back, please. So guys, I hope all of you have joined. So I'm just starting out. So we are doing the valuation of cyclical firms. अभी cyclical firms में what is the typicality? It is the, as the name suggests, they are very cyclical in their nature with respect to the revenues, right? So sometimes some are more based on the seasonality of the business. So for example, if it is a cracker manufacturing unit, then obviously the revenues will peak at a particular time in the year. Then there are certain other segments which will be more receptive to cyclical changes in the economy, right? When there is a boom, they will see more than significant growth, and when there is a recession, they will see more than significant decline. So we will have to take care to see that actually every firm to an extent is a cyclical firm, but there are certain sectors which will lend themselves to more of a cyclical nature of business. Those we'll have to be a little careful that we adjust and normalize the earnings, basically normalize the cash flows and normalize the earnings, so that we don't take a cash flow of a period where they have actually reached a peak or they have reached a depression or a trough, right? We will have to normalize the earnings so that we get the good quality cash flows. So a company that has historically reported lower earnings and higher earnings during economic boom would be viewed as cyclical. This approach allows for more nuance. So first you have to identify what is the normal year, right? And then you'll have to see midpoint of the business cycle and use techniques to normalize those earnings, right? So if you are looking at the last 5 years data, उसमें से you'll have to see if there was any particular year. Like for example, अभी अगर tomorrow we do the valuation in 2022 and we see that 2020 में there was significant drop in revenues. So obviously we can tie it back to the entire pandemic situation where the entire lockdown was there, overall economy was hit, people were not going out buying, manufacturing was stopped, construction activities were halted because laborers etc were going back to their homes etc. So a lot of disruption had happened in 2020. So obviously we'll see a dip in the revenues. So when we are projecting any growths based on those historical data, we will have to normalize the earnings accordingly. We'll have to factor in the extremely high growth periods and also the extremely low growth periods and normalize those earnings to get the normal cash flows. While commodity companies can range the spectrum from food grains to precious metals, cyclical companies can be in diverse business. They share some common factors, right? So the commodity price cycle, they are volatile in their earnings and cash flows. Volatility in earning flows into volatility in equity values and debt ratios also. So for example, now you will see a lot of debt increase in a lot of the companies, right? People who have not been able to service their debt, they will also be looking for further debt infusion in order to sustain their business, right? So even RBI has been asking the banks to take a soft-hearted stance and allow for more credit so that you are enabling these businesses to continue business and not shut down. Otherwise, they will just die because of the current scenarios. Even the healthiest firms can be put to risk if macro move is very negative. Like I was discussing about pandemic, even the very good, successful and healthily running businesses also are facing a lot of difficulties. So those will have to be factored in case there has been some macro movement in that particular period, that has to be factored in to normalize the earnings, because they are not expected to continue. I mean, touch wood, they are not expected to go into another scenario where we were in terms of between March and May, June, right? So there were almost complete lockdown in most of the areas. And then also this entire year overall has been a one-off, hopefully, right? In terms of lockdown and the disruption to the business. So that has to be factored out when we are doing the normalization of earnings. So these are the different steps. First, to look at the normal cycle DCF value, right? Terminal value should be based on normalized level of profit and not peak or trough, right? So we'll take the years, even if we are taking some years where it has been a peak or trough, we'll have to normalize those earnings accordingly. A new trend line scenario of DCF value will focus on long-term trend line, right? So basic difficulty in these areas is with the long-term growth prospect. The terminal value जो हम लोग करते हैं, उसमें एक नंबर मान लेना कि 5% पे हमेशा ग्रो होता रहेगा. That is a questionable assumption, right? So there you will have to look at the trend line and come to a conclusion as to how you want to look at the terminal growth rate. So all these factors will be taken into picture: the international growth, demand, competition, technology change, and all these things. Obviously, there are factors like pandemic, etc., which you cannot take into account. You will never be able to know कि आगे कभी ऐसा होगा. Those will be factored in once they happen, right? Assign probability and get weighted value based on how probable it is that you will be seeing another boom cycle or a depression cycle, trough cycle. You will be assigning different weights. Based on those weighted averages, you can normalize your earnings. So the fact that in the next 5 years, supposing you say 1 year will be boom period, but the probability of that happening is 70%. Right? So for that particular year's revenues, you will be discounting that particular, not discounting, you will be taking down those cash flows by a 0.7 weight. Right? So that cash flows will be reduced to that extent to normalize them basically, because there is a 70% probability. So the expected value is probability into value. So what are the areas that you have to be careful about? Right? Macro factors will play a very big role in cyclical firms, right? Making it difficult to value even the most mature and largest firms. Even these largest firms, as I said, they're running good, healthy running businesses. They also might be subject to certain macro factors, right? So which will always be needed to be taken into account. Errors in valuation arise because analysts choose to completely ignore the economic or commodity price cycle because they fixate on it too much, right? So this is where importance of our macroeconomics class will come in. What kind of a business cycle we are seeing, what are the general price trends, what are the monetary policies going to be like, those things. Base year fixation. We would not be exaggerating if we said that most corporate valuations are built with the current year as the base year, with little heed paid to the firm's history or performance overall sector, right? Current year का जो audited financial होता है उसी का नंबर को हम लोग बेस मान लेते हैं और वहीं से सारा ग्रोथ शुरू करते हैं. Whereas we should actually look at the historical trend also, कि किस तरह से it has been growing or declining. That will give you a lot of insights into the future projection also. This is what we had in terms of the cyclical forms you should be aware of. So you have to normalize it and take care of this depression, not trough cycles and boom cycle. Now MSME. This is an important definition here. Generally, you should be aware of this, not only for registered valuation. Definition of MSME has changed. Now it is based on investment and turnover. So for
last definition was changed, na? It was 100 and 250 crore, I think. 50 crore and 250 crore.
Right. So this is the change definition. Based on the investment of 1 crore and turnover of less than 5 crore, it is a micro. 10 to 50, it is small. And 20 to 100, it is medium. So you will have to take care when, obviously, when you start out, you will be doing a lot of MSME sector valuations, which will be the clients in that particular range, private limited companies. So a lot of things that are taken into account while doing a SME valuation. One is you will have to look at the fact that they contribute majorly to the GDP. GDP ka major ratio comes out of the MSME. The demographics will change with every second generation in case there is a ownership change, right? Because these are usually closely held businesses. So whenever there is a demographic change from a first generation to the second generation, usually the businesses, they undergo, either they continue to, or they grow very exponentially, or they continue to decline because the second generation doesn't want to be in that business, or whatever the reason. And they always obviously have a pressure of facing insolvency and working in the ecosystem. And sometimes certain MSMEs might grow big enough to have an IPO also, where you will get an opportunity to do valuations or any submissions regarding the IPO documentation for the regulators. So these are the different types of adjustment that usually we are seeing when we are doing MSME. Adjustment to financial statement to gap-based accounting, including adjustment from cash to accrual, right? Many of them, sometimes very small companies, they will follow a cash basis of accounting. So you have to be very careful that you have looked at the accounts. If they have been prepared any wrongly, etc., you will have to be careful in correcting those accounting statements firstly, getting them audited, and then only you can do the valuation. Normalization adjustment, obviously, you have to do to eliminate non-recurring revenues and expenses. This was discussed earlier also about the quality of cash flows, that your operating cash flows are much more important than your investing and financing cash flows. Any unrecorded assets liabilities which are taken off books, you have to look at if that needs to be adjusted. Adjustment to make subject company more comparable to others and itself to facilitate financial analysis, right? Whenever you are looking market comparable, one of the major challenges is to how do you, even if you find a comparable company, how do you scale that particular multiple to suit your needs? Adjustment for non-operating assets liabilities and related revenues and expenses. In case there are any non-operating asset liability, etc., you'll have to adjust for that. And any discretionary owner items, right? Sometimes very small businesses, that asset is owned by the owner and then it is used for business, etc., or owned by business or used by owner personally. Any such cases are there, you might be wanting to adjust accordingly. So these are the areas which you have to look at. With respect to investment entities, this is investment and insurance entities, both. These are very, very specific areas of valuation. We might be lucky enough to get an opportunity, but mostly these are very specific valuation areas wherein you will need certain further certifications and a complete knowledge on Ind AS also, apart from the registered valuer listing, to be able to successfully do any such valuation. So I think we'll have to start out with either assisting any other teams who are doing the valuation, because investment companies are, what is an investment entity? Investment entity obtains funds from investors for the purpose of investment management services or to invest those funds in other investment tools like capital appreciation, investment income, etc. Right? So unka jo asset base hoga, it will be all in the form of, for them the inventory will be all in the form of financial investments. right? So there the valuation is a completely different ball game, where you might need to look at, mark to market or many other Ind AS accounting for investments, Ind AS, all that needs to be followed, right? You'll need to do a fair valuation of all the investments, do a mark to market, etc. And then we'll also have to measure and evaluate the performance substantially for all the investment on a fair value basis, right? So each of those underlying investments will then have to be valued on a fair value basis to get the value of the business, right? So if you look at like any of these brokering firms, etc., who are dealing in the money of the clients by investing the money into the financial markets, basically, so holding these financial instruments, right? So for them, all their inventory will again need to be fair valued first. So it's a humongous exercise, first of all. लाइक अभी के लिए हम लोग शेयर और फाइनेंशियल एसेट वैल्यूएशन कर रहे थे. इनके केसेस में उनका इन्वेंट्री में ही इतने सारे अलग अलग शेयर और फाइनेंशियल एसेट्स रहेंगे. दैट हैज टू बी टेकन केयर बेस्ड ऑन स्पेसिफिक सेट ऑफ नॉलेज related to these entities. So as I was saying, you have to look at a lot of in-depth knowledge on Ind AS as well as fair value of investments, which are basically the inventories of these companies. Again, from an insurance company perspective also, a specific set of skill sets are required. To an extent that I would say you will need some kind of an actuarial background also to do valuation of an insurance company. Not very simple that you just pass a registered valuer exam and start doing insurance company valuation. Also, the opportunities for insurance company valuation will be very few and far between. And if an insurance company needs to, look at any kind of mergers or somehow it fails and it's going into liquidation, very, very few and far between, and very, very specialized in terms of its requirements because of the nature of the underlying business. Look at the nature of the business. What are the premium receipts? What are the future claims? I think without an actuarial background, I don't think we'll be able to do such a valuation, or you'll have to heavily.
Actually, I've just looked at one. I mean, I just want to share.
Okay, that's great.
In terms of insurance, I've actually looked at one as a part of an audit.
So how was your experience?
So honestly, there is this embedded value concept, and most of the using embedded value. And we didn't, as valuation professionals, we didn't get a chance to do that embedded value, but that is done by actuaries.
Correct. That's what I was.
So what I think mainly they use price to, they value these companies as a multiple of embedded value.
Based on like the probabilities of those, those claims coming through or not through, those liabilities will have to be ascertained. And basically a lot of mathematical calculations need to be done in terms of those modelings, which the actuarial models will take care of, right? Wherein you will have to ascertain the life expectancy. If the insurance is in the player is also in the business, life insurance, etc. You'll have to look at life expectancy ratio, how they are developing, what is the probability of any claims coming through, how much as compared to the premiums, what kind of liability will you be facing. The now with the pandemic, it's gotten even more complicated. Like with these kind of where a lot of claims have come through. Now that's a cyclical event for the insurance company, right? Where they have to settle all these claims, but then you'll have to normalize that. So it's not at all a very simple exercise. Be heavily dependent on actuarial knowledge or working alongside an actuary. Again, just at an overall level, it looks at these typical areas of the insurance company, like the claims, etc. What are the investments that the company has made, underwriting that the company has made to mitigate its or hedge its loss, etc. Those things will have to be taken care of with the insurance, because there will be a co-insurer, right? When you are doing an insurance in the company, that particular policy might have been co-insured by some other company. So a lot of intradependencies will be there as well. In terms of that liability, if it comes through, it might be pushed on to some other company. So that will have to be taken care. And very, very specific to this particular industry, you'll have to look at these areas. A couple of questions there just to test your understanding of this area. So these are the kind of, some sample questions. Obviously, I'll share the broader list of multiple choice questions with you once the class is over, but let's try to attempt these questions. This method will be used for startups which are yet to generate revenues.
D, all of above.
All of above?
Yes.
Thoughts, anything else? I think that is the right answer. It is all of above. All these methods can be used. As per the venture capital method, valuation of startups, return on investment is dash divided by post-money valuation. We looked at this, right? जैसे हमने वहाँ पे एक value निकाला था by P multiple, वो क्या value था? That was the value at the time of
C, enterprise value.
enterprise value तो divide किया उसको with that value. 5.4
Market value. Market value.
No, it is actually it is your liquidation value, right? तो liquidation के time पे जो बनेगा उसका आप कितना percentage hold करते हैं, तो it's a terminal value basically. Basically looking at terminal value by that multiple, जो multiple निकाला था वो 5 साल के बाद का terminal value था. 5 साल के बाद उतना value बन जाएगा. आपने you will be holding this much percentage. So what is the current value of the company? It is the terminal value. So this is what I had. There is another question, okay? Yeah, this is a very interesting question. I think something which people who had already attended the class, they should be firstly able to answer this, and generally also others would take a crack. This kind of question. Risk-free rate is 9%, beta is 1.5, required return is 15%. What is return on market portfolio?
%18.
18%.
Yes.
Okay. Any other answers? Required return is basically the RM.
Yeah. RF. Yeah. CAPM model, na? This is CAPM model you're talking about, right?
Yes, this is the CAPM model.
This is the RM, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Just a minute.
Required
Just a
return
minute.
is 15%. Return on market portfolio is the RM. What you get in the result is 15%. This is the cost of equity.
Oh, this is cost of equity. Yeah, sorry. Yes. Okay. उल्टा कर दिया.
जी जी.
12.75.
4.5%.
12.75.
काफी अलग अलग आंसर आ रहे हैं. This is basically 15% is equals to 9% plus x minus 9% into 1.5, and you have to solve for x.
Yeah. 6 divided by 1.5.
So 14.2.
Sorry. It's 13. It's 13.
Yes, that is the right answer. It is 13%.
Actually, I've taken beta wrong. Like I took it 1.6.
No problem. That's fine. That's okay. So basically इसमें आपको फाइनल आंसर दे दिया गया, आपको RM पूछ रहा है. RM क्या है? It's just a मतलब basically twisting the question sometimes. These kind of questions might come. So that is all that I had. In case you have any questions, please let me know. Any other thoughts, concerns?
So
For the first batch, is the classes almost over, or what classes you are at right now? Vinitji, Shweta,
One class is pending. I think so. Tomorrow it will be.
Okay, so you are all set for the exam, right?
Tomorrow for case studies only, I think. Just training. I have done training. I have not started even. Now, the 3 weeks we have to read thoroughly.
Okay, So I see
I
that
have
some
not-
discussions going on about, sorry, I muted you. So some discussion going on about some book also, so which is good to see that all are very serious. And for the other batch, I think this just started out. So I think some more classes will be there, obviously. I think that was the discussion that for the case study, you didn't want to be combined with that batch or something like that.
Yeah, but we have been told, I think case study is not linked to basically the other materials.
Okay.
So we just got a call from the RVO. They said it's an independent thing. You could do it. I said fine then.
So I think
Even I didn't know that there are two batches. I mean, there are two WhatsApp groups also.
Yes, there are two batches.
And in fact, Divya Jyoti and there are two RVOs training also combined. Am I right?
I don't.
Yes.
Maybe they are.
Some of
So-
them are from Divya Jyoti.
Oh, okay. I am from the CP1, AIIOF.
Yeah, me too.
Same here.
Sudeep, you please share your number because we are not on the same group.
Is it?
Yeah,
I
yeah.
have sent, yeah, because I saw your number is not there, sir. So I have sent you on your Zoom thing. Can you see that?
No,
I
can
have
you send it
requested-
again?
Okay, I have requested.
I think we'll need to do a merger of the WhatsApp group now.
I think
Yeah,
ideally
it would be
speaking,
good, sir. It would be good if
Merger
you could
and
do
merger
that.
and acquisition of the WhatsApp groups is required.
because academically we can discuss the problems, right?
Yeah, sure. Definitely you can do that. So I will just, I think I've shared this with the earlier batches, but I think again, I'll just take 2 minutes of your time and just share my experience with the examination. So
Yes, sir, we are feeling left out, because we are just taking second class.
no, nothing like that. Nothing like that. I'm going to
Yeah,
share
I'm just
what
no,
I
I'm
had
just
shared
kidding.
with the.
Yeah.
So this this syllabus on fixed income, right? That's before all these case studies, we looked at fixed income. तो fixed income में उतना ही है ना exam perspective से.
हाँ sir, fixed income में उतना ही है, no problem.
Okay.
So what I was trying to share is basically try to basically give the exam within 2 to 3 weeks of the classes being completed. I think as these guys are saying now that they'll be preparing for today, but because I think usually when we just keep it in the back burner, it gets delayed. And obviously एक बार हम लोग classes देखते हैं, सुनते हैं, then something might be registering. It'll be easier to revise the slides and the other study materials also. If you're looking at it, it'll be easier to reconnect with what was discussed or the problems that were solved. So it's easier with little effort only to revise and come back with it. If you keep it for 2-3 months, unless there is some dire emergency or some personal reason, I would expect or request you to try and give the exams as soon as possible. Even if you, God forbid, even if you do not clear also, that's fine. Yeah. It's $1,500 only. Right? So it doesn't matter. In fact, I had people in my people who were appearing with you who had booked 2 batches in 2 days. Assuming कि पहले दिन नहीं होगा तो दूसरे दिन फिर चले जाएंगे. So that's not a problem. You can use it as a test exam only. Right? So please appear as soon as possible. Give yourself 2 to 3 weeks of time and appear the exam. एक बार एग्जाम बुक कर लो आप सबसे पहली बार.
I think 3 weeks is a good 3 weeks is a good time gap because we need
So
to
3
do a lot
weeks-
of practice.
नहीं प्रैक्टिस लेकिन हम लोग जो सीए है ना, हम लोग का सारा डेडलाइन बेस्ड काम होता है. राइट?
Sir, only slides will be sufficient or कुछ और भी books refer करने होंगे?
Yesterday I got delivery of Vijay Goyal's book on valuation.
Like or PPTs will be sufficient.
पर्सनल है, वो आपके ऊपर डिपेंड करता है. आई थिंक
Couple of guys whom I am in touch with who have cleared, they have suggested this book.
I am taking the CS book.
I have not referred to any book.
That book is also good. CS book is also good.
Sir, it
I am
means
taking CS books.
these PPTs will be also sufficient.
PPTs के अलावा you will have to do some MCQs.
हाँ, that is okay. That is okay, but ऐसे content wise it's sufficient, right?
Content wise, I feel that the coverage is adequate.
For
Obviously,
MCQs, Devendra
आपको
Lodha
आप
book
ऐसे
is
नहीं बोल
also
सकते
very
कि
good.
100 marks इसी में से आ रहा है या कुछ हो रहा है. There could be some scenarios where somebody who has done more further in-depth studies, he might get 85 or 90 out of 100. You might get
सर हमें 60 चाहिए
is to get 65.
सर हमें 60 चाहिए हम सीए है हमें 60 चाहिए हमें 85
Exactly.
चाहिए ही नहीं
चाहिए ही नहीं. So that is the perspective.
नहीं
I
चाहिए,
cannot
sir.
say कि आप कहीं और refer मत करिए या विनीत जी please don't go through. Definitely go through the book if you feel like.
So
But I
sir, for MCQ, one book you said that Lodhavan, that is sufficient.
Lodhavan, that is more than sufficient. उससे
हाँ,
कितना
that is
ज्यादा
a good
करोगे आप?
book
उसमें
actually.
4000 क्वेश्चन हैं.
So sufficient
सी
है
है?
ना और कुछ नहीं करना
अरे
पड़ेगा ना
पहले श्वेता तुम पहले वो खत्म कर लो, उसके बाद बात करेंगे सफिशिएंट है कि नहीं. आप खत्म तो करो उसको पहले.
that's a
क्योंकि I'm
pretty
not
big
going
book
to order any books and all. That's the
नहीं,
reason.
that
I
is
know
a
I'm not
personal choice.
going to read.
You might want to or not want, but I think these are adequate. I think these are adequate, but you can definitely order for better understanding. Or if you sometimes feel comfortable reading from a book, some people may not be feeling comfortable reading from a slide or whatever. It's personal choice. But my thing is, whatever you do, that is not important. What is important is, I am thinking कि सीए के लिए डेडलाइन बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट होता है, तो प्लीज बुक योर एग्जाम्स वन यू गेट द सर्टिफिकेट. 3 हफ्ते के बाद का एक डेट ले लो, सो दैट इट विल हेल्प यू टू पुश यू टू प्रिपेयर. नहीं तो वो पड़ा रहेगा बुक या फिर स्लाइड भी मैं भेज दूं, वो वही व्हाट्सएप में पड़ा रहेगा बिना खोले.
I know, I understand. You are completely right. सर ये सर्टिफिकेट कब मिलेगा? ट्रेनिंग सर्टिफिकेट?
सर वो तो आरबीआई दे देगा. आई थिंक क्लास खत्म होती है, आई थिंक कुछ दिनों में, 1-2 दिन में.
कल मिल जाएगा फिर हमें. That's good.
शायद
Training
मुझे पता नहीं, वो तो
certificate I
RBI
got today only. I got today only on my
क्या
mail.
बात है, क्या बात है.
Today,
बधाई.
but one more session
Bधाई
is still
खिलाओ श्वेता.
pending ना?
Fifth class.
I
You
know,
are trained for the exam.
I got today only. मैं सोची यार ट्रेनिंग
You
कंप्लीट
got
भी नहीं हुआ
certificate
है.
today.
अब कुछ तो मेल आया है. I saw like it's certificate only I guess.
मेरे को भी देख लेती हूँ if I got or
Shweta,
not.
I think Shweta, you can dunzo some mithai to JP Nagar also.
Please
Seriously.
Sure.
send us free
Yeah,
chocolates
it's there.
also.
I got. Yeah, it's certificate of something is there like.
So
Let me
right,
check.
so please register yourself. Try to give yourself a deadline so that you will be, pushed to prepare accordingly. For the people who are in the first or second classes, once your classes are towards the ending, please get in touch with the NISM website. So I think one of the slides will have those details also I have put there. Get in touch with that website and register yourself, and then book the exam, right? So Abhi, I'm not sure, are you still supposed to be going to the NISM center and giving the exam, so that you have to check out?
Yes.
No, we have to go. We have to
Okay.
go. That's what
You
I
have to go.
understand. Yeah.
I didn't receive anything, any mail.
Don't
No,
worry,
in Delhi-
you will receive it. Don't worry.
Sir, exam will not be online.
Yeah,
It
it
will
will
be
be
online,
online,
but
but
you have
due
to
to
go to
COVID
a
sir is
center.
telling, I think.
You have to go to the
Oh,
physically
not-
to
not
center.
You
at
have to
home.
go physically there.
So not at home.
So
It's
not
an
at
online exam, but you have to go to the NISM center and appear.
Yes, yes.
Mat and all that.
Okay. Sandeep ji, if you
Conduct
can you
okay.
kindly share this, of course, you would share these slides with us, that MCQ, which you have talked about.
Yeah. Definitely, I'll share it with your batch, because the other
Yeah.
batch, but your batch I'll share it.
Sir, because there are two batches, I understand. Yesterday we were combined, but today I saw also that certain persons' names are not there. So
That's
now
right,
if
that's
they have divided it into two.
That's right. You are completely right.
Yeah,
I'll
yeah.
share
Today
with
it has been done. Yesterday all were one, but today when I see that I couldn't see some people's name.
you. Maybe. So there
Yeah.
maybe have been a demerger.
Yeah. I understand that's a back end thing. Don't go into detail into that.
Right.
But if you could share with us to both the WhatsApp groups, that would be great, sir.
Yeah, I'll share everything with both the WhatsApp group. For
Thanks a lot, sir.
the Lodha one, they can just ignore it. Any case.
सर अभी तक कितने ग्रुप्स में ऐड हो चुके हो आप?
यार पता नहीं कितने में ऐड हो. अब
This is
निकलने
the
की बारी होगी.
26th
मुझे लगता है
group.
मुझे निकलना चाहिए कि ग्रुप में से जबरदस्ती बहुत ग्रुप हो गया.
और क्या exit.
ये ऐसे फिर दिसंबर, आई थिंक अक्टूबर समथिंग से शुरू हो गया मेरा. अक्टूबर या सितंबर से शुरू हुआ, तो सितंबर अक्टूबर फिर अभी दिसंबर का कुछ पैचेस चल रहा है, तो ऐड तो करेंगे. लेट्स सी.
बस संदीप जी कितना लगता है एवरेज टाइम कितना लग रहा है पास होने में कितने अटेम्प्ट लगते हैं बेस्ड ऑन योर एक्सपीरियंस
मैं सर मतलब भगवान की दया से मैं फर्स्ट अटेम्प्ट पास हुआ था. ज्यादातर लोग फर्स्ट अटेम्प्ट पास हो जाते हैं सर. आप थोड़ा सा मेहनत करके 2-3 हफ्ता पढ़ लो, डेफिनेट अटेम्प्ट हो जाएगा. हाँ, आप बोलेंगे बिल्कुल नहीं कुछ करूंगा, बस एग्जाम के प्रीवियस दिन 2 घंटा थोड़ा ऊपर देख लूंगा, वैसे हो पाएगा.
अच्छा
2-3 हफ्ते एटलीस्ट 2-3 घंटे डेली, 4 घंटे डेली टाइप्स सुबह उठ के थोड़ा निकाल के टाइम तो थोड़ा कर लेंगे, आराम से हो जाएगा. इसमें कोई ये नहीं है. मल्टीपल चॉइस है ना सर. ले देखिए, आप इरेडिक answer. Even if you don't know the right answer, it's fine. If you have some idea and if you think correctly.
The most probable wrong answer is also in the options.
Yeah, exactly. Some of them are stupid answers, which you can easily eradicate, right? But then again, I would like to point out, this is something I have told these earlier batches, but again, I'll point out, if you think you are seeing a question where all the 4 options का कुछ सर पैर नहीं आ रहा है, line length कुछ समझ, please don't attempt that question. It is not necessary.
negative
questions.
Negative marking भी है ना?
हाँ, negative marking है. So that is why please don't attempt all 100 marks. Attempt 80-85 marks अच्छे से, you will easily get 60. Do not attempt those extra 15 questions just कि हाँ ये लग रहा है तुक्का मार दो. चारों में तुक्का मत मारना. If you are attempt to eradicate 2 and then 2 are left, then maybe sometimes you can take a risk. 50-50 का probability है. So your expected value is higher. Otherwise your expected value of getting it wrong is 3 out of 4. तो नेगेटिव मार्किंग बहुत बार 59.75 लोगों का मैंने देखा हुआ है, which is very very disheartening. मतलब आपका 60 के ऊपर गया था, माइनस होके कम हो गया 60 से, राइट? सो बी वेयर, डोंट बी ग्रीडी, एंड 80-85 नहीं चाहिए. कोई रैंक नहीं है इसमें, ऑल इंडिया रैंक कुछ नहीं है, किसी को किसी का स्कोर पता नहीं चलना है. either you have passed or you have not passed. 60 रखना है, एक पॉइंट मार्क भी ज्यादा नहीं चाहिए, right? So there is nothing that you will get more valuation assignment or more money or anything or any rank. Nothing. Nobody will come to know your score. So just be aware. Don't attempt all the questions where you don't know any of the option. Leave those questions. 85 questions attempt nicely and come back. आराम से होगा. वो actually 15 questions सारे wrong हुए ना, 15 में से 12-13 wrong हो गए, उसी का माइनस मार्क आपको ले डूबेगा. Be aware of that.
लेकिन इसमें संदीप जी, लेकिन इसमें जो IBBI में तो लिखा हुआ है अटेम्प्ट ऑल क्वेश्चंस, जो उसमें
नहीं, अटेम्प्ट ऑल क्वेश्चन तो इसमें भी है. अटेम्प्ट मतलब you have to look at it and then select कि you have not attempted. You have to move to the next one. You cannot open question not seen. It will not allow you to submit the answer sheet.
अच्छा, तो हम ऐसा कर सकते हैं कि कुछ क्वेश्चन छोड़ के वापस आ सकते हैं दोबारा देखने?
हाँ, वो सारा आगे पीछे सब चलता रहेगा, कुछ प्रॉब्लम नहीं.
अच्छा, और इसमें ये होता है कि जैसे कि ये होता है कि ये आर्टिफिशियल इंटेलिजेंस बिल्ट है, क्योंकि कंप्यूटर का है कि आपने 4 आंसर सही दिए तो 5वां टफ होता जाएगा, और ये टफ जैसे कुछ एग्जामिनेशंस में होता है ना.
यार ये तो वही वाली बात हो गई कि वेंचर कैपिटल 2 मिलियन का नंबर कहाँ से ला रहा है. थोड़ा गट फील. आई डोंट नो.
डोंट गेट पैरानॉइड.
नहीं वैसा तो नहीं है ना. अच्छा,
इट्स वेरी
उस डर से आप रॉन्ग आंसर देना थोड़ा शुरू कर दोगे.
नहीं रॉन्ग आंसर नहीं है इसका. देखिए, अगर क्वेश्चन टफ होते जा रहे हैं ना, तो दैट मींस कि आप सही राह पे जा रहे हो.
क्या बात है. आई थिंक दैट्स अ गुड वे टू थिंक ऑफ इट.
मेरे को पता नहीं है,
बट इट्स अ गुड वे टू थिंक ऑफ इट.
I think that holds true for exams where there is no negative marking.
Pardon?
अगर किसी एग्जाम में नेगेटिव मार्किंग नहीं है ना, फिर वो अडैप्टिव क्वेश्चनिंग वाला कॉन्सेप्ट आ जाता है. तो उसमें आई थिंक ऐसे होता है कि इफ यू, जैसे जीमैट में होता है, अगर आपने 700 वाला क्वेश्चन आपने सही आंसर किया ना, तो वो स्कोर आपको कैसे मिलेगा? 700 into सपोज 20 क्वेश्चंस है, उसमें से दिस इज 700 वाला, 700 into 1/20, तो उस क्वेश्चन के हिसाब से आपको मार्क मिलता है.
ओके.
लेकिन अगर नेगेटिव मार्किंग रहेगा तो फिर वो पूरा वो हो जाता है, फिर आपका मार्क्स भी उतना कटना चाहिए. सो दैट्स व्हाई इसमें
यू आर बेसिकली सेइंग कि ऐसे कुछ टफ नहीं होगा आगे अगर इफ यू गिव द राइट आंसर. दैट्स व्हाट यू आर सेइंग.
हां, मतलब मैं ये कह रहा हूं कंप्यूटर रैंडमली चूज करता है कि उसमें एआई फिक्स है कि वो टफ बनता है.
नहीं, मेरे हिसाब से उनका एक क्वेश्चन बैंक है, उससे रैंडमली पिक होता है.
बस ठीक है, समझ गया सर. ठीक है.
बाकी वो सब एनालिसिस करके कोई फायदा नहीं है. बिंदास 2-3 हफ्ते प्रिपेयर करके एग्जाम दे डालिए, सब पास हो जाएंगे मेरे हिसाब से.
It's very, I think, my experience.
And once you pass, please do let us know. We'll feel very happy once you pass. अगर आपने मैसेज डाला या whatever, we'll be very happy to know that.
Surely, Sandeep ji, we would like to be in touch with you.
Thank you so much. Same here, sir. Definitely, I would want to do the same. So I wish you all the best. I hope to keep in touch.
Sir, एक आप वो बताने वाले थे.
So we will see.
Opportunities का.
Pardon?
सर, वो एक आप शेयर करने वाले थे ना कि मतलब किस तरीके से असाइनमेंट्स वगैरह मिलते हैं और मतलब कैसे आगे का स्कोप रहेगा.
हाँ सर, ये भी तो इम्पोर्टेंट बात है. पेपर पास करके क्या फायदा है.
हाँ, ऐसा तो डीसा भी हुआ है सर, बैंक ऑडिट्स मिल ही नहीं थे.
अच्छा, you were talking about the assignment का क्या experience रहा है मेरा.
हाँ,
I won't share
assignments
anything.
and
I won't be able to share anything, but I will be able to share my experiences basically.
हाँ, right. Experience, sir, that would be great.
So basically, देखिए, you will have to start from the scratch. Either तो you go with the route that Anish has taken. So Anish, how
Okay.
does it work for you? I would just like to understand, like if you qualify for a registered valuer, does it
Yeah.
add to your this thing or what? How do you basically?
No. In terms of employment,
Right.
I have to benefit.
You are in an employment, right?
So in fact, I was going to call you after this training, and I was going to take some insights from you. But yeah, I will call you after that. But
Okay.
matlab, this is just from a perspective of starting off on my own and.
Okay, got it. Because if you are an employed, salaried employee, you cannot become a registered valuer.
Yes, I think I can clear the exam, but I cannot apply for registration, right?
Right.
You
You
cannot-
have 3
you
years
cannot-
time. You have 3 years time to decide, and then you can apply once you have,
Yeah. So
Out of
actually,
a salary.
I mean, see, so apart from my employment, I provide some freelance valuation services to some people overseas.
Lovely. Very
So
nice.
I mean, that's what I've just started, and my long-term objective is just practice on my own and start off on my own. So
Lovely.
that is there.
So,
But
yeah.
I have a larger question on this front, and maybe it's not the right forum to discuss it. But then my question is that considering I'm not a qualified chartered accountant, so then what are the drawbacks that I'm likely to face, or what are the opportunities in this, given how the regulations are currently set? What are the opportunities that I might definitely lose if I'm not a qualified chartered accountant?
So if you are one of the areas where if you are not a qualified accountant, where I think you might be losing is networking with other chartered accountants, because today also not a lot of CAs are registered valuers. The number of registered valuers is not very big, right, compared to the number of CAs that, and all these valuation exercises, the entire financials is handled by the CA of the particular client, right? So they are the first point of contact for any of these assignments. Right? Even though the appointment is done by the board of directors, etc., you will be basically, they will be the first point of contact. So if you know more CAs and all within your fraternity, when you attend these seminars or you conduct any classes, or you just generally come across, in terms of your meetings or continued education programs, whatever, there you get to talk to many of the CAs, etc. But apart from that, I think in terms of the once you are a registered valuer, it doesn't matter if you are a CA or not. You can sign anything. In terms of certain assignments,
Even those 11 UA, 11 UB wala stuff, no?
Pardon?
Like valuations under 11 UA for income for
that is the particularly you need to be a CA.
Yeah.
That UA under DCF is being done by a merchant banker. So there is some things which are there which only CAs can do. As Jitin was mentioning, even when there is a resident to non-resident switch, a chartered accountant can sign it, but they are getting it done through a registered valuer because they are basically thinking why to do it double. Right?
Yeah.
That is one area. Coming to Jitin's point of my experiences, in terms of once having qualified, how are the basically valuation exercises. So you can either go two ways. One is you can just concentrate on doing valuations by keeping that score aside, not take a registration, but trying to find a good role with any of these big fours or bigger valuer organizations and join them as a salaried employee to learn the art. Right?
You're right.
So that is one of the areas where you can focus.
Sir, do we have a bigger valuer organization than Big Fours?
Yeah, so there is this what क्या नाम था उसका?
Duff and Phelps.
Duff and Phelps, yes. Duff and Phelps है और एक दो ऐसे हैं बड़े वाले जो लोग सिर्फ वैल्यूएशन पे काम करते हैं.
All right.
Right? So उनको भी join कर सकते हैं. So that you learn all these intricate valuation exercises and you get to work for clients who are you otherwise would not. Right? That is one. Second is somebody, for me personally, that was not the case because I have already come from that route. I was already working for the Big Four. Prior to that, I was working for other financial services provider, wherein I was into the valuations on and off, right? So I was into teams which were looking at valuations and market forecasts and etc. So मेरे को लगा कि I don't need to go back there. I can start on my own. So I have just, as part also, I'm a part of a partnership firm of chartered accountants, and also individually on an individual basis, I practice as a registered valuer. Right? So there You need to network obviously. कोई काम ऐसे खुद से नहीं आएगा. Just that you become registered valuer, कल को आपको काम मिलने लगे, ऐसे कुछ नहीं है. Just like any other work, you'll have to network through LinkedIn, through your other normal professional networks. You have to make people aware that you are a registered valuer. You have to tell them. You need to keep telling people that you are a registered valuer. Wherever you meet someone, you tell them I am a registered valuer. Because कल को that registers. That thing will register कि हाँ यार किसको valuation चाहिए था, अरे हाँ वो बोल रहा था वो registered valuer. That's how 90% of the work will come through. Right? And once you develop a rapport, then people will come to know you, and the client will also have some repeat business.
Sandeep ji, you have worked in Bombay as well as Bangalore. How Bangalore is different than Bombay in terms of registered valuation opportunities?
I think Bombay would obviously be a bigger market, but then registered valuer nahi, but as a valuer, Bangalore also has got big opportunity, especially in the startup space. Because as I was saying, not only in terms of valuation, but also all these value-added services. Like आप उनका virtual CFO बन जाओ, या फिर आप उनके what do you call term sheet वगैरह में help करो when they are trying to raise funding, or you will help them with the ESOP valuations, or in general the valuation of the company shares. So there are multiple avenues from a startup's perspective, and they would like to deal with a person who's physically present in the city, etc. Sometimes that is the case, right? But from in general, obviously in terms of the financial markets, you cannot compare Bombay to anybody anywhere else in the country. So there will obviously be much more number of transactions or mergers, much more number of transactions of in all these new share issuances, etc. in a market like Bombay. But then you pick and choose your battles, and it's not that you can't work for assignments. I have done a couple of assignments for Bombay clients also. Similarly, I know that Bombay registered valuers have done assignments for Bangalore. So that's not basically factor. वो physical से ज़्यादा कुछ फर्क आजकल तो कोविड में सभी घर में बैठे हैं. You need to have all the documentation through email, and then you have those video calls and normal calls to have the discussion. So
that's right. Market mindset is changing.
Also, from a share and financial asset perspective, luckily we don't need that much of a physical presence, or in most cases we do a desktop valuation only, right? Because when you're doing a share valuation, you don't need to actually do a physical verification of each and every asset, which is the case for the other asset groups. They will need to have a physical verification done कि actually में asset है भी नहीं है क्या है. But हमारे case में most of the share valuations is done without a physical verification. So that also works out. So ऐसे ही है. So that's how you have to basically start from the scratch. धीरे-धीरे build होगा. And target should be कि like firstly मेरा जब मैंने personally वैसे शुरू करूँ तो मेरा target था at least महीने में एक मिले. Right? It should be at least one assignment a month, so that लगे कि चलो भी I'm in touch with the art of doing the valuation. But now then slowly business will increase, and you might want to, then the ultimate goal would be to keep your other focuses totally off and then concentrate solely on valuation. I have not completely reached that stage right now. So I'm doing a bit of valuations, as well as I'm focusing on other areas also in terms of my normal CA practice. So let's see how it goes.
Okay.
Banks is also another area, Jitin, or others who are listening. Banks may want to maybe empanel yourself. So that, but the only flip side is banks ka payment is extremely shabby. Kafi rates. That is one area that you might want to just keep. होता क्या you through the banks you meet some clients. वो client के साथ आपका एक rapport develop हो जाएगा. That is the perspective.
But bank का तो rate card है ना.
हाँ वो रेट कार्ड देख के तो थोड़ा ज्यादा खुशी नहीं होती है, but that's what it is.
But you can build relationship basically.
Yeah, you can build relationship with the underlying customers. वो perspective रहता है.
Yeah, फिर बाकी का business भी आता है apart from the valuation, GST, income tax, balance sheets.
हाँ exactly. बाकी का business भी आप उनके साथ rapport develop करके फिर उठा सकते हैं. तो that is all. You get to meet more clients, etc. तो वो है. So these are the areas, I think. Startup meets वगैरह में जाना चाहिए. All these जहाँ पे VC fund meets जो होते हैं, sometimes you want to go there to meet these potential startups जो आए हैं VC से मिलने. They ask in the valuers etc. or experts in the field to be there just to network around. So sometimes you might want to attend those events. अभी तो खैर कोविड के चक्कर में सब थोड़ा बंद ही पड़ा है. It's usually not happening, but you might want to attend such events to pass around the visiting card, as they say. Just pass the visiting card to maximum number of people and then network.
That's what happens.
Yeah, right.
Right. So those are the things. But सबसे पहले पास हो जाए, उसके बाद बाकी planning. So I
Yeah,
would
right.
Most important.
Right.
please concentrate for 3 to 4 weeks and get this thing out of the way.
Okay, sir.
Then
One more thing. One more thing on IBPI site. Approx 1,500 members in the category of SFA.
Mhm.
So enrollment is less or what? People are not able to clear the valuation. So
कौन
what
सा
is
ये
the-
इंसॉल्वेंसी प्रोफेशनल के लिए?
No, sir. For registered valuers.
No.
हाँ.
Last I checked, there are 3,700 registered valuers.
No, that is for the all category, all three category.
Yeah, so उसमें 1,500 are for SNFA. I would say the rate is higher.
Okay.
तो SFA
नहीं,
is
but he is
1800.
saying no, but he is saying कि अगर आप टोटल कंपेयर करो, टोटल नंबर ऑफ CS would be 3 lakh or whatever.
Right.
तो उसमें से 1,500 number is a smaller number. It's trying. I think what he's meaning. I think so.
Yeah, right. So that's why I'm
But then
asking whether.
not everybody wants to get into this field or go through a
Okay.
course. But while experienced, they don't want to. They have people under them who are registered valuers, or not. It is not like difficult. नहीं वैसा कुछ नहीं है. The
Okay.
enrollment itself is not that big. Just
Yeah,
just a
right.
growing area now. But I think it's a good area to be in. It's not a bad
Yeah,
area.
right. It's a new area, so
A new area, and it's an area which will stay. I don't think it's going away. The
Right,
regulation is
right.
here to stay. The entire
Right.
insolvency and the entire regulatory registered valuer regulation, I don't think is going to go away. It will stay.
right.
So it's better to be a early mover and then look at
Yeah,
that.
Right.
Chalo, all the best to all of you. Hope
Yeah,
to-
thank you very much for your
All right,
guidance.
okay, I will-
Yeah.
Thanks a lot, Sandeep ji. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I hope
Thank you
that
so
all of
much,
you
sir.
Thank you, sir,
clear the exam,
for your insights.
and I hope to see you all very soon.
Thanks
as
a lot.
registered valuers. Bye bye.
Thank
Thank
you
you
a
so much.
lot.
Bye.
Thank you, sir.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.